In the high-octane world of Formula One, the future of Yuki Tsunoda, a rising star who has been making waves with his exceptional performances for racing bulls, has been a topic of intense discussion. Honda, the Japanese manufacturer backing Tsunoda, has recently shed light on this subject, providing a fascinating insight into the dynamics at play. Tsunoda's journey in F1 has been nothing short of a roller coaster ride. His meteoric rise in the sport has been closely tied to Honda's support and their partnership with Red Bull. However, with the impending dissolution of this alliance in 2026, Tsunoda finds himself in a precarious position, akin to a ship without a harbor. This uncertainty makes him one of the most intriguing figures to watch in the coming years. Honda's recent statement reaffirms their commitment to their drivers. They have made it clear that they will continue to support Tsunoda, even if Racing Bulls fails to ascend to the top tier of the sport. The possibility of Honda advocating for Tsunoda's placement in another team has been mooted, but with Lance Stroll's seat seemingly untouchable, the feasibility of such a move remains to be seen. The impending 2026 partnership between Honda and Aston Martin is a double-edged sword, bringing with it a unique set of advantages and challenges. One of the potential hurdles for Aston Martin is their agreement with Honda, a manufacturer known for promoting its academy drivers to the sport. This was evident in the case of Yuki Tsunoda and AlphaTauri, which later rebranded to Racing Bulls. Even when Pierre Gasly was outshining Tsunoda and despite the latter's occasional outbursts, Honda did not replace him. This steadfast support for Tsunoda, even in the face of adversity, speaks volumes about Honda's commitment to their drivers. However, Racing Bull's current standing at P6 in the Constructors' Championship is a far cry from the lofty ambitions Honda and team principal Lauren Mecki had envisioned for the team. Koji Watanabe, the president of Honda Racing, has expressed his desire to see Tsunoda rise to the top teams, even after Honda's departure from Red Bull. As a graduate of the Honda Racing School, Tsunoda's success in Formula One is of paramount importance to Honda. This sentiment underscores the deep-seated gratitude and determination Honda has towards its drivers. However, the reality on the grid is quite different, and placing Tsunoda in a top-performing team might not be a straightforward task. Honda is gearing up to compete at the top with Aston Martin once the new regulations come into effect in 2026. This ambition is not entirely unrealistic, considering the wealth of knowledge they will bring from their partnership with Red Bull and Aston Martin's technical prowess. One potential stumbling block for Honda in their partnership with Aston Martin is the fact that the second seat is more or less reserved as long as Lawrence Stroll is with the team, due to his son's involvement. However, Tsunoda is fully aware of his situation and has stated that he is currently under contract with the Austrian squad, making any speculation about his future moot. Helmut Marko has also weighed in on the matter, stating that any potential move involving Tsunoda would require discussions with the Austrian team first, as Tsunoda's contractual obligations lie with them, not Honda. The likelihood of Tsunoda replacing either Perez or Verstappen, should they leave Red Bull for Mercedes in 2025, is slim to none. Despite this, Tsunoda's place in Racing Bulls is not in question. His impressive performances against Daniel Ricciardo have been instrumental in securing their current P6 position in the Constructors' Championship. The possibility of Tsunoda being replaced by Liam Lawson, if Red Bull decides to replace Daniel Ricciardo, presents an interesting challenge for Honda in their quest to secure a seat for Tsunoda in Aston Martin. The future of Tsunoda has long been speculated to be in Red Bull's primary team once Perez's contract expires. However, this scenario seems increasingly unlikely, which is why Honda is targeting the second seat in Aston Martin, despite the seemingly unbreakable bond between Lance Stroll and his father Lawrence. This complex web of relationships and ambitions sets the stage for an intriguing future for Yuki Tsunoda in the world of Formula One. Lance Stroll's performance at Aston Martin has been a subject of intense scrutiny. His lackluster performance and demeanor have been a stark contrast to his teammate, who has amassed more than triple the points. This disparity has led to a one-sided show at the Silverstone-based squad, with the team heavily relying on Alonso's performances to aim for podium finishes or even a shot at the top three teams further into the season. This scenario is precisely why Aston Martin currently sits at P5 in the Constructors' Championship. Even with Mercedes struggling significantly, A team that Alonso consistently outperforms at every venue this year, they still lead Aston Martin. The reason? They have two drivers consistently finishing in the points. This situation could become a hot topic of discussion between Honda and Aston Martin. Honda, accustomed to winning everything they can with Red Bull, might find the transition challenging if they drop to the midfield suddenly, especially if Lance Stroll continues his current form. A crucial factor to consider is the significant impact on Honda and Aston Martin's future from 2026 onwards. This will be largely determined by the engine manufacturer, as the new regulations will focus heavily on engine and battery power. With cars generating 40% less downforce, it will usher in a new era that many experts believe Red Bull will struggle to fit into. This could open the door for teams like Ferrari, Mercedes, and Aston Martin. If Honda's influence on the car's performance is greater than initially anticipated, there's no doubt that Tsunoda would be the main contender to sit alongside Alonso. This would enable them to fight for a decent spot in the Constructors' Championship, not just the Drivers' Championship. However, the reality is different right now. Mike Crack, the team principal of Aston Martin, has made it clear that the entire project underway at Aston Martin is because of Stroll. Even though Alonso has been making headlines lately with his fluctuating behavior before he signed the extension with Honda, it's important to note that Alonso held lengthy discussions with Honda before extending his contract with Aston Martin. He wanted to ensure that the GP2 engine comments would remain in the past, more precisely 2017, and that they would be able to fight for race wins and ultimately championships. This proves that Honda's influence on where the Silverstone base squad would move is quite significant. Although it shows that Aston is ready for independence from Mercedes by building their own infrastructure and using engines exclusively supplied to them, they would still be in an unpleasant situation if the situation with the second driver does not improve. Therefore, it would be an interesting period for both sides. Honda would have to prove that Tsunoda is top team material, which can be done by him continuing with the outstanding performances in Racing Bulls and, more importantly, outperforming Lawson if he is to enter the team. For Aston Martin, they would have to prove that Lance can perform if he wants. He just has to exit the comfort zone that he's been enjoying for quite some time. The fact that Lawrence is selling small shares of the team is definitely not pointing towards him giving up on the entire project, but is surely hinting that he understands the situation in which he's in and that his son is not capable of what he believed in when he entered the sport. With all this in mind, do you think Honda will somehow find a spot for Yuki Tsunoda in Aston Martin? And if so, will it be at the expense of Lance Stroll? Let us know in the comments below. This is a fascinating topic, and we're eager to hear your thoughts.